everybody, it is Max Imagination here. So today in this video I'll be showing you how to make a Tarantula fidget spinner. So to break things down a bit, we have one large zip tie going in through 8 smaller zip ties with a bearing in the middle and 2 buttons. And in those smaller zip ties you have 8 of these hex nuts to make your Tarantula fidget spinner. So without further ado, let's get into the tutorial. Alright guys, so here are all the materials you're going to need to make this fidget spinner. You're going to need one large zip tie around 6 millimeters in thickness. You're going to need 8 smaller zip ties around 2.5 millimeters in thickness. You're going to need 2 buttons of your choice, a 6000 bearing, 8 hex nuts, and some super glue or other glue you have. And I'm using a Stanley knife here. You can use any other knife you have to cut the zip ties off. Okay, so let's start out with the big zip tie. We're gonna tie it small enough so that the bearing will fit in, but not snug yet. We're gonna keep tightening so you have like a little bit of a gap in between from the bearing and the large zip tie. You're gonna take your smaller zip ties and you're gonna make them go through like that. And then you can leave your bearing behind for now. Just drop it down there. And you're gonna tie your zip ties, not too tight. Make sure that your hex nut fits in. Okay, just tie it a little bit like that. And you're gonna keep tying all the 8 zip ties onto your main zip tie until you get all of them on. Okay, so now once you got them all in like that, they're not too tight. Now you're going to put your bearing in, and you're going to space these zip ties so that they're even, so that they have a bit of a gap in between each other. You got to make sure you have them all spaced out to make a balanced fidget spinner. You can tie that pretty tight right now. And yeah, let's just keep spacing. Okay, so once you got something that looks a little bit like this, you're going to start to take your hex nuts and you're going to pull your zip tie tight. And as you can see, I'm trapping the hex nut inside. And you're going to keep pulling it tight until the hex nut is solid in there, so it's not going to jump out. Okay, let's take the other hex nut and we're going to tie it in. And we're going to keep doing this until we got all 8. Alright, so like I said, you gotta space each one evenly before you tighten them too tight so you can't move them anymore. Alright, we're gonna make sure that it has maybe like at least a 5 millimeter gap in between each one, maybe like 3 millimeter. Not too sure. You just gotta keep spacing each one. Okay, so now you got them all spaced evenly. Now we're gonna make sure that they're all tight, that they're not gonna move around. And using that, you can just take a pair of pliers and tighten each zip tie so that all the nuts stay in. So now that's done, we're going to cut all these zip ties off. Okay guys, so once you got your zip ties cut off, now you're going to take your super glue and your buttons and we're going to glue them on. So like I did in all my other videos, like usual, I would always put some dots of glue on my button like that. Close the lid. And we're gonna put it onto the bearing like that. I'm gonna tip it upside down so the glue doesn't get into the bearing. You're gonna wait for that to dry, and you're gonna do the other one. Taking your super glue, put the glue on it, and then placing it onto your fidget spinner, like so. Now you're gonna give it some time to dry. See you when that's done. Alright, so now it's finished drying, and as you can see, it's a pretty cool fidget spinner. It spins great. Wow. Alright guys, so that's about it for this video, and if you enjoyed watching how to make the Tarantula fidget spinner, then feel free to check out my other videos. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to know every time I upload a new video, then hit that notification bell. And thanks for watching, guys. Peace!